can say I was trading, but the question is, are you consistent? Are you profitable? I really wanted to get to understand what are they looking at that my eyes cannot see. Mentor will just give you a signal, you take a loss, he gives you another signal,
and then tell you
if you did not put stop loss,
if you did not put stop loss,
you should be in profit.
I think I deposited $250.
First deposit.
Yeah,
That's dynasty. This is the report alone. Maybe in only $12.
So you are doing it as a community?
No, it is just a signal group. After making that 2,000 USD, I lost almost 1,500 or something.
Don't withdraw. You didn't withdraw.
Sometimes you don't withdraw bana.
Mimi ya kwanza nilitoa kwanza, lakini vile nilikuwa pesa kidogo. Nilitoa tukakula nyama na jamaa wangu anaitwa Steve. Because we are suffering bana.
Is your mom still holding crypto? Like Bitcoin?
Yes, she is. Wow.
Hello traders, and welcome to another episode of Traders KE. I hope you have been all great and having a good trading week. So today we are actually tuko na furaha sana mpwito kizungu bana, mimi sitashinda nimejikazia na
Yeah, sure.
So we are actually very happy. We have our second guest today, and as always I'm with my guy Nick, and maybe Nick.
Yes, hello to everyone. Welcome once again to the channel. I'm hoping you guys are enjoying the podcast and the episodes that we have done. You can see a lot of comments, a lot of likes and shares. We really appreciate you for that. And looking forward to more episodes together. Today we have yet another guest. And hoping that actually the week is taking you guys well. This month of August has not been, that good, but I'm hoping you're coping up well with it. And looking forward to a very nice episode today with our guest. So I'm going to give him some time to introduce himself and he's going to tell us how his trading experience has been. And welcome to the episode.
Yeah, let's hear from the horse's mouth.
Thank you so much. My name is Faithfulness Joshua.
AKA wa Masuti.
AKA wa
Masuti. Ndiye mtu wa Masuti. Okay.
Of course on TL, on Twitter, that is on X, my name is Faithfulness JS. Do most of interaction. Some of the guys there would think this is a lady's name or something, but I'm the owner. Well, I am a full-time trader, trading fully gold and I think only gold, but I do swing BTC USD and sometimes look at partially trading GBP USD, but I decided to really focus on one pair, that is XAU USD. This has been I'm getting to my second year doing full-time trading, and I'm grateful so far. A lot of learning curve and getting to learn, especially when there is a lot of things, a lot of transition, a lot of knowledge, a lot of things you get to tweak on, you get to learn from, and you get to add on, especially during this period, has been very, very important, especially with trading gold and doing sort of stuff, yeah.
Amazing.
Nice. So, Joshua, apart from trading, I understand that you have been a student leader and still a very active student.
Yeah.
So, Saizi, what are you actually really studying?
Well, I was a student leader at the Technical University of Kenya.
Atuk.
Yeah, in Tuk.
When was that?
That was in 20. Actually, I started my student leadership journey right from first year. So the whole period I was into campus politics until when I graduated. That's when I literally took a bow, and I can say a good dancer always has mastered on when to leave the stage. Yeah. And I left the stage while on a high note, and that was when I transitioned into now getting into full-time trading. And then even before I had graduated, I had already started another course. And this time I'm doing finance, which I'm still continuing with it. And actually, it's finance and economics, and I'm really grateful to it right now. But I'm looking at focusing mainly on finance.
So you started trading when you are back in the university?
Yeah. Actually, I got to start trading when I was in my second year. And I think I was caught up in a wave where, of course, there was a type of movement in terms of trading, such that there was a group that definitely used to at that time used to offer signals. So I joined the group at that moment, and I was able to learn a little bit, because even prior to joining that group, I had started I had already learned about trading. I had information about it. I was really looking at it because I had seen that, of course, that was my only way that I'm able to make an income by myself, especially when in campus. And the fact that I had a previous, I can say, acquaintance who used to trade, and the fact that also some of our family members, of course, started with holding BTC from 2015 there.
I remember. Now I remember you saying was it your mom holding BTC?
Wow. Family members kwenyu na trade. Kwetu ni ukulima tu. Ni dynasty bana. Ni dynasty.
So when I decided to venture into it, I think the first person who really gave me a push ahead was my mom. And she told me she's going to support me in whatever way capacity, and I think that has been really, really integral, especially with my growth up to this moment. And with that, I think I had confidence with myself that I'm able to do it. And the fact that now, even when I was taking signals at that moment, and especially that now I was in school and being a student leader at that time, I was much more occupied with service to students that I really lacked time for myself at most times. So I'd really, much as sometimes I'd make my own analysis, I'd of course take my own trades, but I wasn't consistent. And it got to a level that I really yearned to always be able to analyze for myself, be able to have the confidence to execute. And that is why I really put in time to start mastering the strategy that was at that moment. So I learned that at that time, of course, there was support and trend lines. And then I later transitioned into Falcon. Grateful to one of my friend. He actually guided me through Falcon. Used it for a very short while. And then I now transitioned into the smart money concepts. I remember there was GFX. GFX. So
that man has helped a lot of traders.
Yeah, I think credits to that guy.
Yeah, I always give credit to him.
Yeah, credits to that guy. So credits to GFX. And one funny thing is that even before I transitioned into Falcon and all sort of stuff, yes, I can say I was trading, but the question is, are you consistent? Are you profitable? There was that kind of discontentment in me that I knew I wasn't there, and I felt like there's something missing. And much as, yes, you'd get influenced by how other people do trade, I really wanted to get to understand what are they looking at that my eyes cannot see. That's when now we ventured into went into GFX, and then I think with GFX traded for a few while, transitioned now into Photon concepts. Photon now was much more focused on liquidity, and I think even with focusing on liquidity and inducements, there was an aspect of course, taking lower time frame entries. I watched I took the whole course of Photon, and I had a friend of mine. We did it together. Of course, I can mention him. He's called GTR Cliff. Of course, I think he's been really integral, especially with my journey. And from there on, that was when now before that, I had known of Night FX. And from Night FX, that was when now I was able to know Dark and MGK. And I think I made that decision one moment to just join Night FX because there was something I was looking for that I wasn't able to get from these other sources. And one thing with that community, I wanted a community where I'm able to learn. And credits to them, I think the people who don't spoon feed you, the people who really push you to the limits to learn. And that was something I wanted for myself, getting to learn, getting to be able to be profitable. Because for them, at that moment, I saw their track record definitely. And I think one of the major problems that I've been able to learn from that moment, especially when I started trading up to this moment, is transitioning from being a signal taker to the aspect of having, now, signal groups is much more focused on just making money.
Yeah.
It's not focused on the process.
Yeah, and the education part of
yes,
it is
and
not
of
there.
course, it's not focused on the psychology part. Mentor will just give you a signal, you take a loss, he gives you another signal.
And then tell you,
If you did not put stop loss,
if you did not put stop loss,
you should be in profit.
You should be in profit. Or you've gotten into a trade,
um,
and then he's like, we're already in profit.
Na hata haijasonga.
You in drawdown, bana.
Alafu anakuambia take
Yeah,
parachutes.
Now close.
Adjust
Now close. Smallest lot should be $10.
Take parachutes. Na sasa yuko na 0.01.
I haven't even made it out of drawdown.
Hata hujakava spreads bado.
Bana. So it was really it was like a mental torture. It was detrimental. And at that moment, you don't know who to speak to. Even reaching out to them would be a challenge. That was when I decided to pursue it by myself. And the major challenge with it is, even in regards to taking signals, there's an aspect, you're building it's like building a culture such that even if you're taking signals, by the time you transition to now trading, trying to gain mastery, you'll be much more focused on flipping. You're not focused on risk management, because there's a very critical tool about risk management. And I remember even at that moment, I used to listen to the risk management strategies, and of course reading from the well-established traders who've been in the game for quite a while. And definitely everyone has their own risk management principle. And I think when now I was able, after learning Photon and after getting to Night FX, that was when now I was much more focused on, that was where I was able to learn a proper trading plan, how to really come up with a proper trading plan, having to sticking to the process, being able to gain your own self-mastery. And I think even with that has been something that I had to rewire my brain. I had to unlearn a lot of things. And now remember that, yes, you have a community, but there's one thing that everyone needs to know, and I knew it by myself. Yes, I have a community. I have people around me. I have people who I can reach out to. But the moment I'm in my workstation, the moment I have opened that laptop, I am alone. I need to be honest with myself. I need to be honest with whatever I do, because that is the only way I'm able to build my discipline. That is the only way that I need to seek consistency. And I think even with that was now after that was in 2023 January. That was when I made a full-time decision to be a full-time trader, dedicate everything to just trading.
How was your very first experience into trading? Your very first account, ulilo dongapi?
Now with Signals, I even forgot to bring it in. I remember I deposited around $250. I think I deposited $250.
First deposit.
Yeah,
Man,
first
dynasty, man. This is tulikuwa tunaload.
Lanes.
Mimi niliload $12, man.
Yeah,
Na ukalala
$250.
njaa.
Niliflip ikafika 64.
Yeah, so I deposited that. And I think, of course, before even making a lot of money with it, I think I took some losses out of it. But I remember I flipped it to around almost like 2K USD.
Wow.
Yeah, 2K USD. And then now, there was a time now the brokers, especially from South Africa, were really booming.
Yeah.
Now we decided to venture into those brokers and actually now switch our accounts to GBP accounts, no longer USD, GBP accounts.
So you're doing it as a community?
No, it was just a Signal group, and of course now at that time, of course you had a few click of a friend of yours you made out of the whole lot in that trading space. So we were able, of course, we had some few information here and there, and that was when now, of course, I think beginner's luck ikaanza kupotea. The beginner's luck, of course, started diminishing, and now the reality comes in. I remember after making that 2,000 USD, I lost almost 1,500 or something.
Don't withdraw. You didn't withdraw.
Sometimes you don't withdraw.
Sometimes you don't withdraw bana.
Mimi ya kwanza nilitoa kwanza, lakini venye nilikuwa pesa kidogo. Nilitoa tukakula nyama na jamaa wangu anaitwa Steve. Because we are suffering bana. $2,000. Then back to the market.
So coming back, I think I decided to scale down a little bit, and I think I remember now some of I could see some of the guys would flip almost like $20, $10. I was like, let me try this. I mean, risking $10 or $20 than risking a huge amount of money. And at that time, I think, when you've already made a loss, there's an aspect of you. Of course, you've started having a fear of losing. You really want to protect your capital, and you know that is the only amount that you've really had at that moment, that maybe you've saved up, maybe you've been able to access, okay? And you want to capitalize on that opportunity. So that was what happened. As time went by, of course, I was able to scale up. There was a time I was able to, I remember now with me trading myself, there's a time I flipped almost like 500 USD to almost like 15K.
Wow.
Yeah, 15K USD.
You withdraw?
Actually, yes, that one I withdrew. That one I withdrew.
Amazing.
But I didn't withdraw the full amount.
And this was after how long? After getting into trading?
That was that happened in 2023.
500 to 15,000.
No, 2022. It was 2022. Yeah, 2022. Yeah.
How was the feeling? Kutoka 500 mpaka 15,000. Was it
Top
in
of
one
the
trade
moon.
ama
No.
couple of trades?
It was two trades, because at that time, I remember, now the detrimental thing with getting to now you're a beginner trader, you just want to trade every asset. So of course, Pale Deriv, I even stopped trading currencies at that moment. So at that time, I was just focusing on Step Index and V75. Good thing at that moment, I think I held V75 and Step Index. I traded it. I used to trade it most of the time, and I remember I held those trades right now I can't really recall, but I remember I held those trades because by the time I was hitting around 15k plus, I was traveling going home. And I remember getting home and showing my mom, and of course she was proud of me at that moment.
Very.
$15,000 na hiyo time dollar ilikuwa karibu 160.
No. It was even less than 110 at that moment.
2022,
Yeah.
Dollar imekuja kupanda 2023 eh?
Yeah, actually this around actually
The last quarter of 2023.
the last quarter of 2023. That was
sure.
2022. Yeah, that was when ilianza kupanda.
But of course imekuwa ikipanda ever since
until wangwano wafanye ile maneno ya liquidity pale CBK.
There is something happening dollar trading at 130 against the Kenya shilling.
Mchezo wa town hiyo.
Yeah, so I think I got home at that moment. Of course I showed my mom. By that time, of course, I was closing some of my positions because that time I was loading up crazily, several positions. And I think, of course, I was happy at that moment. And then later on, of course, now the aspect of winning so big, you're so happy. You just want to get to the markets and do the same
and
thing
do
again.
the same.
Now your
50K,
mindset is much
50K.
more focused on flipping.
Yes.
If I was able to flip 500k,
That is your
500
highest.
500 USD to almost like 1500 plus.
That's almost 2
No,
million.
15,000
That's
plus.
15,000,
That is
yeah.
plus 15,000 plus. So I think I remember I closed those trades. I remember I closed them. But along the way, I made some shitty trades and I donated back to the market. Of course, I donated back to the market.
Everything.
No, almost not everything, definitely. But I remember I lost. I remember
Joshua,
I had a
so-
balance. I had a balance of about 10k USD. I had a balance of about 10k USD in my account, and that was what went down the drain.
So pesa ya campaign, you had campaign money.
Let me tell you, when I was in Tuk, money was not a problem. Money was
The
never
problem
a problem.
was on how to spend the money.
The money on how to spend the money was where the big catch was. Because I remember during my campaigns, I never really had a problem. If it's spending cash, I would spend it.
Comrade akikuja unamguzisha.
Ni kawaida, like
You have to.
I think I had already made a budget ya kusort comrade. Yeah, even up to these days, some comrades would call me, tell me, Mazee Kiongozi, I don't have fare, sina lunch.
Yeah, I also
It's
get that
supper.
a lot. from
Yeah, so
comrades.
and especially guys from Tuk and they know you. And I think I would just give them. I
Yeah.
would just give them because
The bag
I've been
is
in
the
that
bag is
situation too.
secured.
I've been in that situation too because studying in Tuk, it's like you're just like a worker who comes to town.
Yeah.
The amount of money you pay for rent, you pay for fare, it's just the same. And you mostly would have to sacrifice one or the other, and that is one of the things that most of the comrades do, especially in Tuk. They'd rather sacrifice lunch and use it for fare, or rather sacrifice fare
And
to
it's
eat
Lunch.
lunch.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think even with that, I remember even my campaigns, I think I never asked my parents for any cash or anything. It's me who did it. I remember even by that time, they're asking me if I really want to do this.
Your parents.
Yeah. I told them, of course, I want to do it, but they supported me along the way because for them, they've really supported me along the way, especially with anything that I've set my mind to do. And that was it. I think now when there was a couple of losses along the way with the trading, especially the synthetics market, I was like, this is not it. And I remember, especially now, I got to understand that you really need to have a trading system. You really need to have a trading process. And that comes with building confidence in yourself. And now that was when I had to go back to backtesting. Now going back to unlearn a lot of things, backtesting, that was almost the end of 2022. I think even before election started, the 2022 election started, because I was so big in the 2022 elections. I was so involved in it. I think even I had made a decision just before that elections that I'm going to now focus on trading fully. So I had the resources, I had the information. Now it was just about me to just plan on everything.
And put your mind into it.
Yeah, so I went into backtesting, got the data that I needed. And now my focus was now getting to choose the pairs I'm going to start with. Remember at that time, I just made a decision. I'm never going to trade anything to do with synthetics, because at that time you couldn't backtest, of course, the synthetics market. So it was now focusing on the
Forex.
forex
on the
market,
currency pairs.
on the currency pairs. And
So
one
by
thing
then
for sure is
you had not involved yourself with gold as of yet.
no 20 when I started trading in 2022. Most of the trades that we used to take was gold, until when no, actually was it 2022 there. Most of the trades used to take was gold. I think 2021. Most of the trades we used to take, the end of 2021 was gold trades. And I remember we had several losses until when we decided to venture into now synthetics market, because it was known as the market was manipulated. Okay. And of course, if your mentor tells you that, definitely you just have to buy it. And you find that part of the reason why we have divergent views in the market, it's because of our mentors. Mostly we trade the same way, or rather execute the same way as your mentor does. You do the same things as your mentor does. Okay. So even the type of pairs you trade would be just much more inclined to what your mentor does.
Have taught you.
So at that time, in 2022, I just made a decision that I'm going to end of 2022, I'm going to focus on Euro USD, GBP USD, and XAU USD. I think I did it for almost like 2 quarters. And then I dropped the currencies, especially GU and EU. But one that I had to drop it fast, EU. It really messed up my psychology. And I think after dropping it, that was when I think I had a reprieve. The market was so slow, it was so choppy. And actually, even looking at my trading data at that moment, part of the losses I used to make was based on EU. I'd execute gold effectively. I'd execute GU was mild, but EU would take much more of the profits that I made using gold and GU. Now, sometimes you would get setups in all the pairs, but now you take an EU trade, it ends up in an SL, or it ends up in an SL. The other ones, it ends up in a missed limit, and actually, the trade you could have taken, which you cancelled, ended in profits. So I had to make a decision to stop trading them. I remember even on the TL, I used to post the 3 pairs, especially my market breakdown. And also I came to realize that even when I was doing my early morning forecast, when I was doing my end of day forecast, I really used to take a long time doing those forecasts, because you have to concentrate on how the day was. You have to look at the breakdown for 3 pairs.
All these assets.
It was something else. I scaled down to 2 pairs. I really evaluated myself. I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. Just decided to focus on gold. Now, that was when I focused on gold. I remember when I focused on gold, I think there was there was that kind of hype. It was a very big hype, especially on TL. Everyone was trading gold until when now the time of reckoning came. Huku unaona watu pale because
Watu
kidungi ilikuwa
washapigwa.
imminent. Kidungi pale gold is very imminent.
Very.
Yeah, and that's why you find that not everyone would really trade it. And I knew even when I made that decision to trade gold, I knew whatever I'm looking for, this is a trouble I'm looking for. I've ever been in this trouble before, but this time, because I have this system, I'm able to manage my risk.
You chose your pain.
Yeah, I have an entry model. I have a system. I have been able to backtest this. Then I'm going to only trade gold. I think from mid 2023, actually from 2024, that was when now I fully traded gold, and that was last year. The whole of last year, I only traded gold. I only traded gold until when now, towards the end of last year, I started now venturing into swinging BTC USD, and mostly that.
How did you transition from this mentality of you want to flip an account to now get into compound your account slowly? And why did you transition to that?
Because it was unsustainable. You have money at this moment. The other time you
don't.
The other time you're making a lot of money. The other time you are on crazy losses. And one thing I came to learn is if I'm able to focus on consistency and able to plan my trades well, and of course practice on a good risk management model, even however much losses I'm able to make, especially with my system, I'm able to recover with one trade or two trades. And at that time when we were flipping, it was an aspect of when you make a loss, you just want to revenge trade. And I think with revenge trading, I think I've had a bad share of it, because mostly it would end up with just messing up everything. So with that case, I just decided to focus on just trading with my own pace, sticking to consistently showing up. Even if I'm not going to trade today, if a trade is not going to be presented for the next 3 days, I'm going to be patient, because that is the only way I'm going to be sustainable. And even if I'm going to trade these days, I'm able to, right now, I'm able to know which is a trade that I'm going to scale up, which is a trade I'm going to scale down, which is a trade that I can double my risk or even over risk, because of course there are times you have to over risk.
No risk, happens. No money. Yeah,
it happens normally. It's just nature of man. But you really
no risk, no story.
Yeah, no risk, no story.
No Lambo.
Yeah. So what you need to know is you need to bear the consequences of it, and that it won't really mess up with your psychology. Yeah.
Now, recently, especially, you're very much active on Twitter. I also believe you're a very active member on the X community.
Yeah.
We've got some guys who are really doing crazy account flips.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what they believe in. And looking at it, most of them are beginner and intermediate traders. What advice would you give to this person who is just looking to flip their accounts? Tell them.
Do it. And why would I say do it? The fact that you've put in that capital in your account means that you're willing to risk that amount in your wallet. But would you do it for lifetime? Would you do it for the next 3 years, or would you do it for the next 1 year? It's very unsustainable. You'll always be having an aspect of course, you're going to look at, of course, revenge trading. You'll always have an aspect of FOMO. It just builds up to it. And it's just normal psychology. You're able to build up a character you're able to build up something, or rather you're going to pick up something that you're going to do it subconsciously between 7 days to 21 days. And with that aspect of flipping, yes, it's going to be fun to you, but definitely you just get to a level that there's that day that you're going to lose it all, definitely. And that is when now clarity comes in, it kicks in, because personally I've been there. I've had a clique of friends who've been there too. And for sure is you can do it with $100, you can do it with $50, you can do it with $10, you can do it even with $500. But even if you scale up to 50K, would you want to flip 50K at that moment? Mm-hmm. Because there's just an aspect of you that would just tell you that this is not the right thing. Okay. And of course, with scaling up, there's an aspect of having responsibility that comes in, because you have to be self-aware, you have to be conscious with whatever you're doing. And that is where now I think sanity starts to kick in, and it kicks in after you've made a big loss. Because personally for me, it hit me after I've made a big loss. Mm-hmm. I knew that I can't be losing, let's say I can't flip 5K USD at this moment, because one thing with flipping, you'll always just want to hold and hold and hold forever. And you have no plan with it. Actually, you are trading with no plan. And
you don't even have an exit price.
You don't have anything. Just maybe entries.
Yeah. Hey. But now, the best way I'd advise somebody with flipping, this is something I learned. I learned that after you've been profitable, or rather you've made a good, let's say you've made a good catch over the week, or rather a month, or rather a quarter, take a portion. Let's say take something like $50 or even $100. If you've really made a lot, just take a portion, create another account, totally different. Do whatever you want with that amount, because at that moment, you won't be attached with, you're not going to be attached with that money.
Yeah.
You won't even think of using a stop loss at that moment. And this is something with people who I've been able to interact with, and I've seen them doing some crazy flips. Much as yes, they have the data to hit, they have the plan to hit, they still use the same model of execution. They'd wait patiently for that moment, but for them, they've dedicated a different account for that to be able to flip that amount. So it's not just something that do it every other day. Just decide to do it maybe in a month, or once in a month, or twice in a month, or do it once in a quarter. I mean,
when you feel like
when you feel that maybe the market has good conditions, because I'm sure maybe right now, I don't know, and I remember over the phone call I had asked you, are you really trading in August? Because maybe if you look at maybe let's say your favorite pair, gold. Gold has been in consolidation since hitting its all-time high for 17 weeks to now.
Yeah.
So I believe that's some 3 months, something. Yeah. So if you look at the price action, you really see it doesn't really have much to offer.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, it doesn't have much to offer, but this is something I came to learn. I think personally for me, I decided to focus on not only looking at the amount of profit I make, but rather I look at the risk to reward ratio. Personally for me, I always secure my partials strictly at around 4R. And this is based on something that I came to learn, and I had to do it so that I just maintain my level of sanity. Because gold will execute at this moment, yes, you're in profits. At that moment, just comes back to BE. Now imagine you have like 4 BEs, 3 BEs. It messes up with your psychology, definitely. Now imagine you have like 17. I've had like, there's a month I had like 10. I know
10 break
a
evens.
guy of mine had almost like 17 to 20.
You see money, the next minute, no money.
No money, you see? So if you're able to secure the partials, at least you'll be contented with something. At least I made something. But now, it even helped me not look at the amount of profits I make, but rather but rather look at the reward I'm making. Because I have 4R as my partials, mostly target around 10R to around 12R.
So looking at you're getting 12R or 8R on a single trade. Are you trading on lower time frames or just tell us your trading style in 1 minute? How you trade?
I think, especially on TL, there's been a lot of conversation, and I've had interactions with guys, of course, asking me how I get my trades. But let me just say my breakdown. Much as I do higher time frame analysis, of course, I start from the monthly to the weekly to the monthly. Of course, I do monthly, but what I look at, especially for the month, within let's say a trading month, I'll be much more focused with what the candle closes, especially on the weekly time frame, what happened during those weeks on that month, and then now what I fully focus within a month is the daily time frame, the H4, the H1, and the M15. Okay, so my higher time frames are mostly the H4. The H1 is where mostly I now look at my day trading. Okay, and then M15 is where I have my immediate buyers. That is my immediate buyers. On lower time frames, that is M1 and M3, because I mostly take my trades strictly on M1 and M3. Those are just execution. So when price reaches to my POI, especially on, let's say, because I'm day trading, or let's say on H1, currently I'm focusing mostly on liquidity and inducement areas. Okay. So when it gets to I'll only take a trade once an inducement has been taken out, or rather a relevant liquidity has been taken out. That is when now I'll start looking for a trade. With that, I'll get to my lower time frame. That is the only time I get to my lower time frame. So now, since price is fractal, and fractal, it means that it builds from the lower time frame. I've been able to collect enough data such that I have an entry model for the lower time frame. With the lower time frame, whatever I've been looking at on the higher time frame, be it liquidity, be it inducement areas, especially on lower time frames, mostly sometimes on M5. M5 is where you'd see the lower time frame inducements. On M1, I'd look at where the liquidity is, and then now I look for a POI, or rather an order block on M1 to take an execution entry. Now with M1, that is when now I'm able to get my trade. And the reason why I'd say I have when I'm focusing with RR, risk and reward of about 12 to even sometimes I'd get even around 36, even 50.
36R?
Yeah, 50.
Wow.
It's because of how I take the trade on M1. Sometimes you'd get a trade with almost like 7 pips SL on gold.
That's on gold.
10 pips SL. But mostly, I always prefer having what my requisite personally for me is always about 30 pips. 30 pips is the maximum for me that I have on gold. Now when I get to 10 pips, that is when now I decide to over risk.
Yeah.
10 pips to 10 pips to 20 pips, even 7 pips I decide to over risk, but they don't come just every other moment, because on lower time frame actually it messes up your psychology. Crazy if you're not used to it,
Because
especially
everything
on
is
gold.
going on very
Yeah,
fast.
you need to act very fast. And currently right now with my model, mostly I rarely wait for confirmation entry. You look at price and react based on how price has moved. So with the lower time frame, I'd look for a move away from my POI, a corrective move on the backside. But now with that pullback, or rather a trade away from my POI, that candle has to be an engulfing on M1. And I'll always take execution entry. Actually, these days I rarely take limit, what is it called? Limit orders, especially sell limits and
And the buy limits.
buy limits. Because previously I used to do it on H1 and sometimes on M30. These days, because I'm much more focused on LTF, on the lower time frame, I'd take it at that moment, execute it, and have my stop loss. Now you can get around between 7 pips to around 30 pips. That is my prerequisite for such kind of trades on the lower time frame. And I think with the lower time frame, it gives me confidence, because by the time I've even at about 4R, depending on my SL size, I've already secured almost like around 50 pips or 60 pips on my 4R.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Hapa Joshua ametutupa bana, unasikia tu anaongelelea H1 M1.
that is normal. That is H1 is the 1 hour.
1 hour and maybe M1
1,
minutes.
M1 is
Yeah.
minute 1.
Yeah, I know there is someone maybe
M is
who
for
does-
minutes, H is for the hours.
Yeah,
hours,
yeah.
Yeah.
So the hack with it, don't always look at LTF. Only get to lower time frame, M1 or M3, for execution.
Yeah.
The other times I focus on H1 only, and immediate buyers M15. Those are only what I look for during the day.
And now shifting from now the technical part of it to the psychology part of trading. Psychology plays the biggest role. You can have, yes, a 50-hour trade, but at the end of the trade, if your psychology is messed up, you can't make anything out of it.
Yeah.
So how do you handle your psychology from the moment you execute your trade?
Actually, every other morning before I get to while my PC is booting, I'd always journal, because before even I journal, I have to meditate. So I journal. I write down several things that, of course, would affect my trading process, because definitely you have, and mostly it's always tied to money. You need money to pay some few things here and there. You need money to buy some other things here and there, and that demand for making money would really drive your execution and your thought process. So after I've journaled down, of course, I get to do my morning forecast. Sometimes these days, sometimes when I'm even looking at my morning forecast, I just see a trade and I decide to execute. Okay? Because it's a level of understanding your system. Okay? So I'd do my my forecast and definitely have a bias for the day. But now that bias it tends to have flexibility. Like, for instance, this morning, I just woke up and at 6 a.m. I already had a trade. Executed it based on my parameters, secured at around 110 pips, and then left the others to run. I got a buy executed the buy, secured partials, it ended into BE. And now, once I've secured my partials, whatever happens doesn't really matter to me. Actually, once I've decided to position myself to trade, once I've made that execution, I know that I've already lost the trade. And I'll always wait for a stop loss. Good thing these days there's a notification that just pops up.
Stop loss hit.
Stop loss hit. So
Margin call.
no. These days I haven't seen a margin call in a very long time. I haven't seen margin call.
But you have seen margin call.
Kupigiwa na broker hiyo ni kawaida.
No, actually.
Kwanza walikuwa tuma ka SMS. Kuna broker fulani kama West. Ulikuwa unapata ka SMS pana. Ayo, account is na margin call.
Kwanza email.
No, but
you have to block the email.
No one watches movie here.
The margin call movie. Yes.
The margin
yes.
call, yeah.
Yes, nimejua.
So, where was I? So, yeah. So,
Partials.
by the time I've already executed the trade, secured my partials, and I have my stop loss at BE, whatever is going to drive everything from there is just destiny and time. Okay, I'm no longer in control of the market. So, one thing that I've developed over time, and even I used to write on my journal, if I'm able to survive a drawdown, then I should be patient for TP. Okay? Because there's no point of you just chickening out, and yet you're able to hold a trade in stop loss.
That's what most traders will be able to hold trades which are losing.
Yeah.
But when they see small profits, they close.
And now
That's a conversation you are having with Nick, by the way.
And now actually the main catch is it's not even about the amount of money it's not about the trade they see in profit. It's the amount of money they've made at that moment. That's why personally for me, when I started, I say that I decided to focus on risk to reward.
And not the money.
I decided to focus on the percentage. I decided to focus on the percentage because a percentage return would really be instrumental for me in regards to even at the end of month when I'm going to look at my trade process. How have I executed my trade? Is there something that I need to change? Because if I'm really going to focus on money alone, we just think money as that value we see on the blue values we see on the screen. It's going to clog it's going to rather block or rather veil your trading process. But now when you decide to focus on the process and just focus on percentage, that is where now actually you'll be contented with taking a trade. That's why mostly I'd look at, I lost like 2%. If I lost 2% and I had made almost like 8%, means that I'm down 6%.
Yeah.
Right? So at least it gives me contentment because if, let's say, I had made almost like, let's say 100 USD, right? And I lost almost like 20. Or rather, I lost like 10. Of course, you'd see that as a very big value, right?
Yeah.
And of course, it influences your psychology, and you just, there are things that you just come up in your mind, and you just want to make a decision out of it. So that is why I decided to focus on venture on this other route, and I think for me it's been working for this moment.
So
Okay, can continue.
Okay. Joshua, you said you entry Zako, maybe today you made an entry at 6. So 6 it's around, I guess it's the Tokyo session, Ama?
Yeah, it's Asian session.
Asian in the morning.
Asian, it's called Asian. So that's odd. Not so many people take such trades on those hours. Mostly you get people saying that around, especially around most of the traders that we have interacted with, wengi wanasemanga they take trades during the New York session. And for you, you made a tweet and said that market open feels like bonkers. It's bonkers. So why do you feel that way?
Okay. Well, because just as I said, I focus mostly on inducement, on price taking out an inducement before I get involved. That was or price taking out a relevant liquidity because I get involved. That was basically what happened today, and sometimes it happens. Okay, so when I saw that opportunity and I saw an entry model on the lower time frame, I had confidence in taking that trade. Of course, I'd take that trade and secure my partials and wait for the other valuable outcome. But definitely is most of the people would wait for New York because it has volume. But if you look especially with gold, for the past 2 quarters, I can say, yes, this quarter and last quarter, gold has been moving crazily, especially during Asian session. When it gets to New York, unashangai liquidity inakuja New York hizi ni vitu gani. So you'd find that even some of the traders would wake up at 3 a.m. these days because you just have to adapt with the market conditions. You just have to adapt with the market conditions. When your trade criteria is in, just focus on your entry model criteria, and you take your trade. And especially that we are doing day trading, you just have to adapt to the market conditions, because with being a day trader, of course, you want to catch the worm every other moment. Okay? So that is what's up. But mostly volume that comes in is mostly during London and New York. But personally, I always shun away from taking trades during Asian session. These are most of the, let's say, specific cases that happens. When it happens, you just do it. Okay. Sometimes I'd even wake up at 4 a.m. and see a trade. Or if I'm up even at 5 a.m., I'd see a trade, I'd execute at that moment. Okay. But you just have to stick to the same risk criteria, following your trading plan. But now mostly what I look at during the day, because previously I used to wake up at 7:30, get to my workstation at 8, prepare my day's forecast. But now I'd wait for Frankfurt session, that is between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. before the London market opens. Actually, those are the best times to mostly take your trades, because I always have because I'm focusing on Asian range liquidity. That is the minor inducement of the day. Once the other side of the inducement has been taken out, I'm looking at now taking my trade after that inducement has been taken out. Now I'd be looking at taking out the other area of the inducement, and then now coming to the medium inducement, that is the previous day low and high. That is what you look at taking those inducements out. So that would maybe come during the day, and even up to around that is when New York comes in. Now New York comes in, you take out maybe the previous day low and high, and that's how I always look at my trading process. Yeah.
Nice.
Going back to trading psychology just a little bit, I believe the difference between a losing trader or the difference between the profitable and the unprofitable is their mindset and the psychology behind how they trade. Do you have any habits or any rituals that one can use to cross this bridge between unprofitability to profitability?
Being honest with yourself, being disciplined, definitely. But now, you see, that hard thing that you really don't want to do, you just have to do it. Because, for instance, if it's waking up in the morning, stick to a routine that you'll wake up at this set time and always wake up at that moment. I remember even when on Monday, I made a joke that I'm trading in bed. And yes, I was trading in bed. But I was up at 5. I was up at 5. But now, that 5 a.m. window, I have to prepare my mind. Of course, there's benediction. There's maybe reading my devotional, doing my meditation, journaling. It's a habit that actually you're building for yourself, and actually you'll not realize it for the first few days, but when you make it a habit, it builds on your subconscious mind, because you're able to inculcate a discipline in you through, or rather consistency in you, by having a habit which becomes a culture, such that you're going to be strict with it, because you realize that even when you're losing, most of the times you'd not even want to journal that trade. Or even when you win, you don't even think of journaling that trade.
Yeah.
But the most important thing, when you take a loss, don't think of taking another trade. Get back to journaling. Write down the thought process. I remember at night community, we had a trading plan where after every outcome of the trade, it had a set of questions. So you have to fill in. And I remember I did it for a year. So actually I did it from 2023. And I'm still doing it to today, where even when I'm taking a loss, I still journal. I write down everything that happened during that trade. Right the moment when I took the trade, how I felt. Now imagine you're trading gold in the lower time frame, how you're feeling. Brother, you're sweating. You're fidgeting.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to journal it down, so that even by the time I built that confidence to take trades on M1, it meant that I had to journal. I had to write down my feelings, okay? And we are not numb to our feelings, because it always happens. So journal it down before taking a trade, while you've executed the trade, while the trade is still going on, journal it. How you're feeling, definitely. Did you feel like closing the trade? Write it down. Once you close, once the trade hit TP, or rather it hit a sell, journal it down. At least it keeps you in check, because one thing for sure is you're your own accountant. You're your own HR. You're able to master yourself.
You run a company by yourself.
Yeah, you run a company by yourself. No one is going to do it for you. And this is a path that unfortunately you decided to take on, because there's a time I gave up, definitely. But why am I here? Because I saw something and I want to get somewhere. So I have to do these things so that I get somewhere. And through building systems is when you're able to start accessing the other realms of success. And now, even with that, with how you journal down everything to do with your trade process, how you do it, it also builds down to your goals, the goals you've set for, let's say, the quarter, your goals for the day. Because even before I trade that morning, I have goals for the day, okay? And at the end of the day, I have to evaluate, did I attain these goals? And if I attain these goals, did I follow my trading plan? Did I follow my plan? And if I broke some of the rules, what am I supposed to do to stop this habit of breaking these rules? Because most of the times we'd break the rules and still win.
Yeah.
But is it sustainable?
I guess it's the most dangerous thing to do. You break a rule and then you win. Next time you're going to tell yourself, okay, let me just break one more.
Yeah.
And it now starts building as a habit. You can break your rules.
And now that has happened to me severally, way back. And I don't want to get to that situation where I broke my rules and I continued breaking the rules. And by the time you're in the pit, you're still digging. You don't realize it until when now you hit the wall and I'm like, oof, I messed up.
Because it's more of being rewarded for bad behavior.
Yeah. That's why for me, right now, I have always when I walk around, either when I have my bag or actually mostly my journals are mostly, I have it on phone and I have it on my notebook. My notebooks are full of just me ranting to myself. You'd think I'm a retard.
Nice.
Okay.
You see, at one point, Joshua, I think I'm more like you by the way. I have like this notebook and I be writing weird stuff. Maybe Nick has seen it. Sorry,
Always writing something.
That is invading my privacy. And I'm like, I just like rant to myself and Yani do everything that goes in my mind right there. I'll be just scribbling it down and so sometimes Nick and the crew wanakuwa like, who am a cheesy? But one thing I don't know if unajua, but there is some space I used to help back then.
Yeah.
And I know you're not aware, but you guys and maybe the community, the way right now you are talking about here the journaling and how actually to journal, I got that from you, and that's how I started. I knew how to journal, and actually remember, was it maybe MGK came up with a video on how to use Notion,
yes.
and
Remember.
and he put it up on YouTube. So then likuwa tu kafala flani. But I'm very eager to learn. So any chance I have to learn, I get it.
Yeah.
And the thing to do with journaling, even your emotions, that I got from you. And
Because I remember with Night FX, especially with Dark and MGK, they were really strict with journaling.
yeah,
And outrightly, I just knew that this is something I have to do. Not just do it because other people are doing it, but it's to my benefit. And, even with that, yes, you'd face losses, things would come up. You don't have people to talk to.
yeah.
The best place to talk to yourself, to talk to people, is that notebook. Write it down because you want to rant it out. And maybe you have a girlfriend, you have a wife. She doesn't know anything to do with the trading.
Yeah,
she just
sure.
wants to. She wants money to buy food or rather go out and all sort of
The money for nails.
Sasa hiyo umekula kidungi hapo hivyo.
Umepigwa
She won't
hoops.
understand and you would not tell her
Yeah.
what has happened. So you just jot it down in your notebook. Much as you can write it on your phone, the best thing, that pen is important and that notebook.
So Joshua, let's maybe tutoke kwa trading kidogo, and to do, I also understand that apart from being a good leader and being a trader, you're also a businessman, but maybe we'll touch on the business. We'll touch on the business because actually it's quite interesting and very interesting. But maybe in terms of leadership. So I guess recently you guys have seen that a lot is going on in geopolitics. That is right now, recently, was it this week or the previous week? We have had, for the first time, and since Trump became president, he actually got a sit down with Putin, with Vladimir Putin. And a day maybe or two after, he also sat down with the EU leaders, and Zelensky was there, and they're rooting for peace. Is it looting or rooting?
Rooting for peace.
Rooting for peace, and which is very commendable.
Yeah.
And I do hope they achieve that, because the people who suffer are the innocent civilians.
Definitely.
Yeah. So in regards to the market, if you consider when the war started on Ukraine, in the Ukraine-Russia war, a lot did change in the market, and that's
definitely.
in terms of especially gold, because we always say gold is a safe haven.
Yeah.
So as of the moment, given that gold hasn't, after hitting its all-time high, and obvious it has been on a run because it's a safe haven and everything. So what's your take, in general? Maybe I know maybe you're not so fundamental, but I know I engage with you a lot, and I know your insights and everything, interesting insights and everything. Sometimes I don't agree with them. I'm like, but this is my friend now, I cannot now. He had to support, but anyway, it's an opinionated world.
Yeah.
So what do you think, maybe both of you, do you think that if these peace deals, if they come into conclusion and they make the sign, do you think it will affect the market, and especially on gold?
Yeah, definitely it's going to affect the market. I think mostly whatever happens with the market is based on people's judgment. And the fact that gold is considered as a safe haven, especially when there is war, there is a crisis. We look at with the peace deal that we're going to have between Ukraine and Russia. Of course, I expect a little bit of stillness with the market, at least for a moment. Definitely, much as the peace deal is not going to be sustainable for the long term, but until when the deal is striked, I expect stillness in the market. At least we be able to see. I expect gold to at least not move to the all-time highs at this moment, but at least expect it to retrace back to some EQ levels there, and then at least it rebalances off from last year's move. Funny thing, the whole of last year, you just wake up, buy.
Gold just continued.
I remember I held
since the war started.
Actually since the almost the whole of last year. I think I swinged gold for the longest, almost like 7 months. 7 months. There's the guy I've seen here who held from
1633. When was that?
From 2022. Some of the guys had not even started trading. 2022.
That's a crazy.
So now imagine the kind of psychology holding that. Now imagine that guy. He's not looking at the amount of money he makes. He's looking at the percentage. Like for him, it's not money he needs. Most of the reason why definitely we'd make losses in the market is because we are in need of money. Yeah, we're not focused on the process. But back to the fundamentals. So expect at least some easing. But in regards to anything to do with GU and EU, I expect some crazy all-time highs still. Especially
you're calling for all-time highs.
I'm looking. Actually, I remember last year. Last year I texted in the community. I think zangu zilikuwa zimenice pia. I just said from January I'm going to buy GU and EU, and actually from January GU and EU bought. It bought
like crazy,
to the level it
crazy.
was. I remember I actually bought GU. I closed it at around 400 pips. I closed it around 400 pips. I remember I held it for quite a while from January.
Final question as we wrap up. You are a very, of course, spiritual guy. You teach people on spirituality. Now, does spirituality help you in any way to be a better trader?
Um, you know, life is spiritual. Whatever you speak in the spiritual manifests in the natural. And these are just laws of, rather, I could say the laws of the kingdom, because there is the spiritual kingdom and now there is the physical. We live in the physical, right? But now the physical is much more chaotic, right? And that is how, right after the fall of man, that was when everything became physical, right? So the world became chaotic. And now, if you look back, when man fell, the kingdom was given back to Satan, definitely. That was the devil. And man lost dominion. So for you to be able to access the great realms in the physical, you have to really dwell in the spiritual. And with the spiritual, it comes off with nourishing yourself with, of course, the word, being intimate with God. Definitely, I'm a Christian. Being intimate with God, you'd find some other guys who are much more focused on spirituality. Actually, every other time when we say meditation is not. It's never physical. It's spiritual. Yeah. So no matter how you'd say that there's no God, or rather you'd want to put away anything to do with spirituality with God, it's actually spiritual whenever you meditate. You look at even the Bible, the kings, especially David, how he planned for the temple. He was meditating. Before he went to war, he used to meditate. While even God was creating the earth, he meditated, because with meditating, you are planning. You're creating a blueprint, okay? Once you've meditated, at least you can write down things, because personally for me, after I've meditated, actually, it's much more easier to even pray, or rather, I'll even find contentment with whatever I do. Every other time I get anxious, every other time when I feel like things are not moving, I just resort to meditating. And of course, with that, now since I'm a Christian, I couple it up with reading the scripture, being intimate with God. And I think it's something that I've learned along the way, because I've been able to experience God in a very different way. I remember I used to be sickly, and actually I got healed. Okay. I've seen God do things in my life, and every other time, everything I do, I just credit God. I know I always involve him in everything. He's not fast. He's always involved in everything that I do. And I always look at, because, the fact that he's given me this skill, and it's something that I prayed for, and it's something that I'm yearning, it's something that I ever yearned for. And even the things that I'm looking at, I'm not looking at being closer to him so that I can obtain things from him, but rather, what would I use my position in benefit of him? That's why every other moment, every other step, every other my spaces, or rather, the people I interact with, even my social media, I just use it to spread a message or a gospel about God, so that somebody can learn too. And I came to realize that somebody would learn from you after they've seen something in you. So now, in regards to connecting the physical world to the spiritual world, you know that God doesn't control the world, currently doesn't control the world until he comes back. So for him to access the world, he has to access it through you as a human. And now that you're a Christian, he's accessing the world through you. So he's using you as a vessel. So now, with you being a vessel, it means that you need to do things in benefit of him. And that is how I've always looked at it. And I think every other trader who's gone through the process would just come back to everything and say that it's good, because I've had friends who are literally atheists, and right now they just stand back to being to finding God
Conclusion.
and being spiritual, right? So, and you find that even with that, you find some level of contentment with the spiritual, because now you have all the money, but are you satisfied? You can get all of it, and this is something that most of the people don't know. A lot of these wealthy people, much as they not profess critically that, let's say, they're close to God or everything, but there's an aspect of spirituality with them. And that's why when I say life is spiritual, they mostly venture into a lot of meditation. And that's why somebody like Warren Buffett or even Jeff Bezos, I was looking at an interview they had, and they were asked why would they invest in some ventures that were seen as flops. They just said judgment. But would you just do something out of judgment? It means that it comes at a level of being still. And by being still, it's an aspect of being alone and actually meditating. That's why every other moment I always tell my clique and even friends and even traders, this is the best thing to ever do. After a trading day, go connect with nature.
Touch grass.
Touch grass, bana.
Touch grass.
Touch
Even
grass,
if it's not
yeah.
touching us, go touch grass.
Touch grass.
Touch grass. Yeah, so actually, with touching grass, even don't go with your phone. Walk alone. Think about things. That is where ideas come in. That is where you're able to craft things. Because,
Maybe
people
you
think
see
that
go
meditation
with
is
your
a very
notebook.
hard thing. You see those things you just decide to see, that your mind takes you to it. Allow it to take it to there. You're just connecting the spiritual. And that is how easy it is. Much as you need to be still. Personally, for me, when I'm meditating, I don't want any distraction, honestly. Even my parents know that. Mostly my mornings are I always say my mornings are so sacred. They're so sacred to me. So it's what is going to determine the day, because I remember there are times I do not meditate and I feel there's something that's wrong. There are times I'd break some rules, I'd not follow some morning ritual, and my day would just not be that effective. I'd feel like there's something missing, and I'll have to go back to the start so that I'm able to plan things out, because you have to plan before you execute.
Nice.
Wow,
So,
wow.
Now,
Joshua.
that now comes back to spiritual and then the physical. To manifest whatever you see in the spiritual, you're able to see it going to actualize it in the natural.
Yeah.
So Joshua, maybe. So we are gonna save this conversation, because I'm very sure if we had to sit down with Joshua, we'll do
That's
like
consumer.
a 3-4 hours
Talking about this.
Yeah, and since we want to keep it interesting, I know there are matters to do with business. I remember maybe by now you have your second fleet. Maybe this guy has an electric bus. So it's quite interesting, because I guess we have been having some really deep conversations with Nick and the team in terms of how can you get from forex to actually also doing something also on the side, because for once you understand this thing as much, maybe whatever markets that you're trading in, may it be crypto or whatever, you actually have a lot of time, and that's the freedom you'll be calling. So the way to spend on that time, but we're gonna get there. But as of now, as we're winding up, I just want to know one thing. I want to know one thing. Is your mom still holding crypto, Bitcoin?
Yes, she is.
Wow. Sisi wetu tunashika jembe.
So
My mom.
you're getting kidnapped after this for ransom.
Mama Joshua kijana akikosa kufika nyumbani
Tuma kidu.
tume BTC mbili tu. Yeah. So it has been a nice conversation, Joshua.
Thank you.
We
Thank you
really
for hosting
appreciate
me.
you. Yeah, really appreciate you for coming and talking to traders. Hoping I'm going to get you into more episodes. Talk about
Definitely,
spirituality.
we will always be here. We
Yeah.
just it's always about creating time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
We never always say we should stop being busyness men.
Yes. Very nice. So you get more
we
conversations.
create time. Actually, these you don't know. These conversations actually build on a lot of things, especially with our type of niche.
Yeah.
This is we have a lot of things to demystify. We really need to have raw conversations and unfiltered conversations about this journey.
Sure.
Such that it's going to build on even people who are able to learn, because there are young people out here, or rather very young people who are getting to this space and they've been fed off a lot of things. But if they're able to learn something, you're able to get an information about something, it's going to build you for the long term.
Very nice.
The fact that I'm here, I'm able to learn from you.
Yeah.
And it's a very important thing of life. At least wake up every morning and get to learn about something.
Sure. So thanks to everybody who has been tuned into today's episode. And we really appreciate our guest for coming and talking a lot about trading, about spirituality. Next episode is going to be there talking also about business. And hoping that you guys have enjoyed. We're going to be meeting once again in the next episode.
Yeah, so maybe from the next episode, I think we should start appreciating back the community. So
people who have been consistently, you have subscribed to the channel, sharing and all that, commenting.
Yeah,
we have something in store for you.
Yeah, we have some.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. So
keep tuned in.
Yeah, we'll definitely be doing each. I guess we'll talk with.
With the team, HFM team, of course.
Yeah, and
we are going to
see. Of course, it's all about empowering others. So as Traders K has always been, we rise by lifting others. So in whatever way we can, we will do it, starting from the next episode.
Yeah. Joshua said 3 words to a beginner trader.
It's not easy. Forex is a career. It's the hard way to make easy money. But just focus on the process. Stay disciplined, stay consistent, and plan your journey. Yeah.
So before Joshua, there is a line I stole from you. And since actually it's the weekend, you are heading to the weekend. So
if you're brave enough, your weekend should have started on Monday.
So I know you know the line I'm talking about. Yeah.
Actually,
so you are actually gonna wrap that.
Actually, I got it from MGK himself. MGK himself. Use the weekends to build the life you want, not to escape the life you're currently living, because it's horrible.
Perfect.
Don't forget to share and subscribe.
Turus.